What I'm about to share with you is not going to be easy to grasp, but I'm going to try anyway. So, in all the non-dual traditions, in the Vedic non-dual traditions particularly, Brahman is the subject of all experience, and Brahmand is the appearance that Brahman takes on. So think of Brahman as cosmic consciousness and think of Brahmand as cosmos. Once again, think of Brahman as cosmic consciousness and think of Brahmand as cosmos. Consciousness, cosmos, they're complementarities. But Brahman is the subject of all experiences. And I want to break this down in a way that I hope is understandable. So, before you call something an object, before you call something an object, a watch, a hand, a nose, these glasses, that book or those books, that statue, that painting, before you call it that, it's a perceptual activity. Okay? And it's a human perceptual activity. That is a human perceptual activity. The word object, book, painting, statue, etc., are human constructs for human modes of knowing and experience, which in this case are perceptions conceptualized as those objects. Okay? So, object is a human construct for a human perception. And doesn't matter what the object is. It could be rocks, it could be other biological organisms, it could be planets, it could be stars, it could be animals. Those are perceived phenomena. And in this case, they are human perceived phenomena. So the biological organism that we call human and those perceptions have to arise simultaneously. They co-arise simultaneously and subside. And both the perceived object are a combination of sensations. The perceived objects are combinations of sensations. And this perceiver is also a combination of sensations. So the perceived and the perceiver are combinations of sensations. They go together, they're entangled, they are complementarities. So, is the perceiver awareness? Is the perceived awareness? Yes. They are combinations of sensations. The perceiver, in this case, this entity that we call Deepak Chopra, which is not a constant entity, it's a kind of an activity. I mentioned this many times. This activity, Deepak, starts with its existence as a fertilized egg and then zygote and embryo and baby, toddler, teenager, all the way to dusty death. This is an activity of intermittent sensations that is entangled with that activity, which is also sensations. Where are these sensations occurring? Is the sensation of you as you see yourself? That's a sensation. Seeing is a sensation. Smelling is a sensation. Sound is a sensation. Taste is a sensation. And, tactile sensations. Where are these being experienced? Obviously, not in the brain, not in the sensory apparatus, but in awareness. And where are the sensations that are entangled with these sensations being perceived? All those sensations, those are also intermittent sensations in the same awareness. So Deepak as the perceiver and all those objects as the perceived are entangled sensations, complementary sensations that simultaneously arise and co-arise in awareness. That awareness is experiencing itself as the perceiver that is called, in this case, Deepak, and the perceived objects that you see on my screen, and you see them too, and you see yourself too. And all that is being experienced in awareness, which is non-local. Okay? So there's only one subject of experience. In that one subject of experience exist all perceivers and all perceived phenomena simultaneously. And if you break it down, does it lead to any deeper understanding of who we are? So let's break it down. Perception is a fundamental aspect of how biological entities interact with their environment. Perception involves the recognition and interpretation of sensory stimuli, which form the basis of what we call empirical knowledge. Objects of perception, ranging from rocks to technological instruments to stars to galaxies, are entities that are first modes of knowing and experience before we call them objects. These objects do not exist independently of perceivers. Okay? They do not exist independently of perceivers. And the perceiver doesn't exist independently of the perceived. They're both simultaneously co-arising and subsiding, intermittent sensations. In where? In awareness. So awareness is a state of being conscious, encompassing both mental and physical processes. It is through awareness that perceivers and the world are simultaneously experienced. And this awareness is not confined to individual experiences. In fact, it includes all individual experiences and is therefore universal. It's impersonal, it is borderless and infinite, and it serves as the ultimate subject of all experience. All perceivers and perceived objects are seen as simultaneously entangled sensations within this awareness. So now let's go to what is Brahman and what is Brahmand. So Brahman represents the highest universal principle and the ultimate reality of the universe. Brahman is described as the cosmic principle that is realized in the whole world, in the whole universe, embodying truth, consciousness, and ultimately, because it's independent of all its experiences, it's also bliss, frequently referred to as Sat Chetananda. It is the singular subject of all knowers, all modes of knowing, and all phenomena that are known. So Brahman is both the universal subject and the multiverse of all perceived phenomena. Brahman, the subject of all experience, and Brahmand, all that can be experienced. So, what about animals and plants? And well, they are also perceivers in that one universal consciousness. So the interconnectedness and its nature of perception and awareness posits that all perceivers and perceived objects are entangled within a singular borderless awareness. This awareness is Brahman. It's the ultimate subject of all experience, encompassing all modes of knowing and all phenomena. It highlights the complementary and co-arising nature of perceiving entities and perceived objects. And this is the real matrix. Okay, this is the real matrix. Brahman is the matrix of all existence, and Brahmand is also all forms of existence, all perceivers, and all perceived. So, who are you? Are you the perceiver or the perceived? Are you the perceiver or the perceived? Are you the awareness or are you the awareness in which perceiver and perceived co-arise? That awareness is Brahman, the undifferentiated self. This so-called differentiated self is one tributary of the undifferentiated self. And in the deeper reality, you are the undifferentiated self. Just like a drop in the ocean is the ocean in the drop. That's, of course, from Rumi. Why is this important? Well, it's important because we want to know truth. We don't want to know models of truth. The human body-mind is a model, as it's an instrument of observation. And that's why we call it, in a way, a perceiver. But it's not the perceiver. It is the perceived. As is all the objects, as are all the objects, they're also perceived. They're all perceived within the one universal consciousness, and we are that. Now, this has been expressed many ways in simple, simple sutras or aphorisms or mantras. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the universe. Sat Chitananda, eternal truth, eternal consciousness, eternal bliss. Tattvamasi, I am that, you are that, all this is that, that alone is. So who are you? You are both Brahman and Brahmand. And that is not subject to birth and death. Let me know what you think. Okay, I'm glad to hear your feedback if this is useful. And also, as I've mentioned before, we can continue this conversation on digitaldeepak.ai, and I'll respond to you in English with my voice. Thank you, friends. And remember, Digital Dharma is available for you to use as a guide to explore multiple language models, which will enhance your information and knowledge of reality. But the wisdom can only come from within you, from consciousness. Thank you.